Hi, welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. So, I don't know, about a week or two ago, I was out hunting in the wild for CDs and I found this really cool CD. I have never seen it before out in the wild. It's the legendary debut album by It's a Beautiful Day. Legendary band from San Francisco in the late 60s, 67, 68 or so. Again, I had never seen it out in the wild. I know the song. Whitebird, really famous, legendary song. And I got really excited to pick it up, and I think I paid like a buck or two. And it got me thinking, because I've been playing this album all week, and I'm blown away by how great it is. And it's kind of like, why did It's a Beautiful Day get kind of lost in the shuffle as opposed to a lot of these other legendary San Francisco bands? So here's a video basically of 1967 Haight Ashbury, San Francisco sound, and the mystery of It's a Beautiful Day, why they're pretty much forgotten. But go out and get this album, I'm telling you. All right, that's what we're covering today. It's a Beautiful Day in San Francisco. If you're new to my channel, I know it's really annoying to hear this, but please hit subscribe. That would be really great. Help my channel to grow. So we're talking about San Francisco, the hotbed, 1967, the summer of love, right? All started off pretty much with the Jefferson Airplane. Their first album came out, I believe, 66 it was, with Takes Off. But 67 is when they really exploded the airplane with Surrealistic Pillow because, of course, they added Grace Slick to the lineup, and she brought in White Rabbit and Somebody to Love. And, of course, these are two amazing, well, certainly Surrealistic Pillow is an amazing classic album. And that was the first really successful commercial album from a San Francisco band. Grateful Dead, their debut album also came out in 1967. Less psychedelic than they would become later on. A really fine, kind of lo-fi Grateful Dead debut, but I really like it. What else came around that time? Well, 67 also saw Moby Grape and their debut album, the one where they're giving the finger. A great, great album. Now, Moby Grape kind of reminds me of It's a Beautiful Day, because I got to tell you, I live on the East Coast in New York, and growing up, I've never heard Moby Grape on the radio. Even in the golden days of 70s radio when they played deep cuts, can't tell you, I had never heard Moby Grape. I only knew about their debut album, Legendary Story. They released a ton of singles at the same time, and it kind of killed the record. It's a shame. I eventually picked up this vintage 2 CD collection. I think it has the whole first album, but it's got a whole bunch of other stuff, and I was blown away by how great Moby Grape was, and I've picked up other ones since. But they were a new band for me when I picked that up, even though, of course, I knew the name. Sly The Family Stone, they put out their first album, A Whole New Thing, back in 1967, and they were a San Francisco band as well. A lot of people forget that. Big Brother and the Holding Company, Janis Joplin, her first album with them, Cheap Thrills, that also came out, this one may have came out in 68, I think, actually. But you get the idea. 67, 68, Robert Crumb did the great artwork, San Francisco band. And another band that didn't get much play here on the East Coast was Quicksilver Messenger Service. Also, it was 67, 68. They had the one big hit, Fresh Air, which came out in like 1970. So Quicksilver Messenger Service, Moby Grape, kind of reminiscent to me of It's a Beautiful Day. Because It's a Beautiful Day, they had that one legendary song, Whitebird. Now, when I was thinking back, I knew Whitebird, but I think I knew it from around 1977 when the leader of It's a Beautiful Day, David LaFlame, released a solo record, Whitebird, and he redid it. And it's a great version of the song. It's just an amazing track. If you don't know it, you need to hear Whitebird. But his solo version is it's like 70s. It's slicker, not as hippie-ish, and an easier, maybe smoother listen. But the version on By a Beautiful Day is a ultimate classic. Again, maybe I never heard it on the radio, I'm not sure, but I certainly haven't heard it in decades. So I was thrilled to get this album, the story with them, and also Moby Grape and even Jefferson Airplane. The manager back then, They called it San Francisco Sound, which was a record label, uh, owned by Matthew Katz, this legendary San Francisco rock manager who was just an evil manager, took control of the bands, took control of their publishing. Moby Grape, he literally destroyed. He made them sign over their name and their publishing rights and their copyrights, and they were left like nothing. And he's just this brutal manager. But he created this San Francisco Sound. It's a record label, and this is the inside of the It's a Beautiful Day CD artwork, and it shows like an ad, So Matthew Katz is all about Matthew Katz. It's a Beautiful Day is really interesting. David LaFlame is the lead singer, so he's a guy. He also plays the violin, and it gives him a really, really cool, melodic, interesting sound. Violin is all over them, and it's just beautiful. He's also got a female vocalist in the band. It doesn't even say it on here. Her name was Patty Santos. And then Linda LaFlame, which is his wife, she played keyboard. She also sang some as well. But he's certainly the lead singer. Their sound is very reminiscent to me of the Jefferson Airplane. Her voice, Patty Santos, sounds very Grace Slick-like. But he's doing most of the vocals. So if you listen to Jefferson Airplane, Paul Kantner sings a lot, maybe Marty Ballin. And then you got Grace sings the harmonies, and it's not this classic kind of beautiful harmony. It's Grace Slick coming in and doing her thing, and it works really great. That's very reminiscent of the sound of It's a Beautiful Day. Their songs are really melodic. So the album starts off with Whitebird, which if you've never heard it, you need to hear it. It is such a classic. The version on this album is like 6 minutes long. The solo version, which probably is the one that I heard growing up a little bit from David LaFlame, is much shorter. So it's got a lot of vocalizing and harmonies, very Jefferson Airplane-like, but very pretty and very melodic. The second song is called Hot Summer Day, almost 6 minutes long, very reminiscent. Also, lead vocals, really melodic. I mean, you're going to like it the first time you hear it. If you like that Jefferson Airplane, late 60s San Francisco, Haight Ashbury, Summer of Love sound. It's just totally reminiscent, but it's an easy listen. Some of the Jefferson Airplane stuff could be tough. This is not. The third song, Wasted Union Blues, well, that's the only song on here that's pretty dated. It starts off with this really fuzzy, nasty kind of guitar, almost sitar-like, and interweaving vocals, and not a particularly pretty song, like a blues song as the title. It's kind of its time, let's say. The rest of this album is not. Girl with No Eyes, funny title, is just a beautiful song. It's got harpsichord in it, and I'm a sucker for harpsichord. It's just beautiful melody. You'll love it. It's just great. Bombay Calling, song number 5. That's interesting. I'm in a state of shock. Do you know the Deep Purple song, Child in Time? It's probably my favorite Deep Purple song. I'm not exaggerating. You got to hear this. Bombay Calling is the original version of Child in Time. Only better, and it's an instrumental. But it's the same music. I mean, I can't believe it. I don't know how Deep Purple got away with this. I guess back then nobody cared. The lick is bum 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 na 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 bum bum bum. That's how Child in Time is. That's the song is. And the key change in Bombay Calling is the exact same key change in Child of Time. I can't believe that Child in Time from Deep Purple is a complete musical rip of Bombay Calling. I mean, it's astonishing to me. But Bombay Calling is an instrumental. So if you love Child in Time by Deep Purple, and I'm sure you do, you'll love this because it's basically a beautiful, gorgeous instrumental version of Child in Time with violin and overflowing songs. You got to hear it. I'm in a state of shock. It's just it's an amazing version. But of course, this came first, so Deep Purple ripped them off. That goes right into a thing called Bulgaria, which is that beautiful. It's like 6 minutes and 10 minutes, and the drummer's playing mallets, which is very popular back then. Jefferson Airplane would do that as well. Do you know the song from the Moody Blues from Days of Future Past? It's called The Sunset, and Graham Edge plays mallets on there. It's very reminiscent of that. It's just haunting, but really melodic and interweaving sounds. It's just great. So Bombay Calling into Bulgaria is just extraordinary. And then the final song is Time Is, which is almost 10 minutes long. There's your 60s jamming. They even throw in a drum solo, not a particularly great one, but it's kind of funny. But Bulgaria and Bombay Calling's extraordinary. Whitebird's a classic. Hot Summer Day is amazing. Girl with No Eyes with the Harpsichord is amazing. This is one great, great album. If you love the Jefferson Airplane, if you love that 60s San Francisco hippie Haight Ashbury sound, and you never heard this album, like I've never heard this album because it's hard to find, it gets no radio play, man, you need to hear this album. It's that good. One other point that is really kind of surprising to me. So the Jefferson, they sound very much like the Jefferson Airplane. The Jefferson Airplane did come first, 66, 67. The band was formed in 67. This album came out in 69. So the Jefferson Airplane did come out first. But I got to tell you something. So this album has got violin all over it. I don't think it was a coincidence that the Jefferson Airplane recruited Papa John Creech, who was a violin player. Because the latter day Jefferson Airplane, and certainly into the Starship, like Red Octopus, those early Starship great albums with Papa John Creech all over it, man, it sounds just like It's a Beautiful Day. I think the first Airplane album was Bark with Papa John Creech. So I think these guys were kind of influential. I think they even went back and influenced the Jefferson Airplane, and certainly Deep Purple was a fan. There you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. There's my take. Back in those days, I loved the length of albums. They were like 40 minutes, so it doesn't take a lot of time. I'm sure this stuff's on Spotify. Listen to the album, It's a Beautiful Day. You're going to thank me. If you enjoy Jefferson Airplane, early Jefferson Starship, and that 60s sound, it's terrific. You're never too old to discover new old stuff on the Alan Rosenberg Show. So thanks for tuning in. I will see you next time. And again, not to be annoying, but please hit subscribe. It would help my channel to grow. And check out my other videos. And I'll see you next time.